Hi friends and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I will be sharing my February TBR. I'm excited, I hope that you are excited. Let's just chat. Figuring out my February TBR has been a tad bit tricky, mainly because I will be away for basically the first half of the month. I will be away traveling, I will be on vacation, I will relax, meaning that I will have a lot of time to read, but I need to be very considerate about the books I plan on bringing with me because I don't want to bring too many books. I don't want to take up too much space, all of that. So it's kind of this conflict of, yes, bringing all the books, reading all the books, but also like, no, I can't bring all the books because luggage space. So I try to think like, okay, what should I bring? Well, obviously I shouldn't bring hardbacks because heavy, so I should look at paperback. But it wouldn't make sense to bring short paperbacks or thin paperbacks because I will just finish that within 1 day or two, especially if I'll just be lounging on the beach. So I need to bring chunky paperbacks. Okay, chunky paperbacks, I have a bunch of them. How do I pick? Basically, I'm considering my February TBR to be divided into two parts. We have first half of the month with me traveling, that TBR, and then we have video projects for the second half of the month because I still have a few video projects I would like to do. For the last 2 years I've been doing a romance reading vlog in February, which I've always enjoyed. I think it's so much fun to ask for recommendations and stuff, so I do want to do a romance reading vlog. I also have an idea about making a reading vlog focus on books featuring single characters, because as a single Pringle myself and someone that is fairly content with that, I would love to see some more representation of single characters in books, or like where singleness or being single is celebrated. So I've been asking for recommendations on Twitter for both romance books as per usual, but also for books featuring single characters or that celebrates being single. Please feel free to give me your recommendations in the comments as well, because I really hope to do both of these reading vlogs, and I will start them later on in February, so there's plenty of time for you to leave your recommendations for these ones. I will also leave the 2 tweets and like the threads with the recommendations if you're interested in seeing that. So please, 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 I'm begging you, give me your romance book recommendations. It can be anything at all, like anything goes. Be it as smutty as you like, as innocent as you like, YA, LGBTQIA+, diverse, fantasy, contemporary, horror, like whatever romance you enjoy in a book, leave me that recommendation, please. And also for books featuring single characters or that celebrate being single, not being in a relationship, where the main character perhaps does not end up in a relationship. Books that's sort of similar to that, please leave those recommendations as well. I would really appreciate that. So I started to think, okay, what books should I bring with me on my trip? What should I read? So on. I still have like yearly goals I want to achieve, all of that. I also played around a bit with the idea of doing like some themed reading during this trip. Perhaps reading more, because I'm going to Thailand, so perhaps reading more books written by Thai authors or that have a setting in Thailand. Or perhaps, since I'm going on like a summer vacation, read tropical books. I have played around with ideas like that. I will be bringing my e-reader, that's the main thing. So I'm only bringing a few physical books, and then I'm bringing my e-reader. Let's chat about my main TBR. Also, I will later on also talk about some anticipated releases coming out in February, because I'm trying this thing where I'm actually keeping up with new releases. First, let's start simple. A book that was on my January TBR that most likely will end up being on my February TBR because I simply haven't started it yet is The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. Grimdark adult fantasy. I talked about this in my January TBR. It's the 24th of January. I still have so many other books I'm currently reading. I don't think I will get to this before the end of the month, meaning that this one will roll over in February. So I need to read it in February. This is a part of the First Law Along hosted by Becca from Becca and the Books, where they bi-monthly read a book from this series. It's the first book in the series. Yeah, let's not stay here for long. Another epic fantasy I plan on reading in February, and finally hope I actually will read, is The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. I'm actually doing a buddy read of this in February together with Steffi. Perhaps you know Steffi from my Edinburgh vlogs now. We talked about reading this back in November or December, I think. Never got to it. We're doing it in February now. So this one is going with me to Thailand. It's about 650 pages. Perfect beach read, right? I don't know what this is about. I've only read one Brandon Sanderson book, and that was Elantris. I did enjoy it though. It's a book that has the concept that what would the world look like if the bad guys had won. I feel like everyone knows what this story is. Everyone loves this one. Everyone's obsessed. I don't know. I want to properly start my Cosmere journey, reading all the books in the Cosmere universe. I want to start my Mistborn reading. I think this will be a perfect read for the plane, for the flight, because I'll be in the air for like 10 plus hours, 2 times. The next book I plan on bringing with me on my travel is by my favorite author, and that book is My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry by Fredrik Backman. I have the Swedish edition of it. Fredrik Backman is my favorite author, and in January I actually went to like an author event where he spoke, and then they showed the new A Man Called Otto movie. It was great. I loved it, and from seeing the movie and also meeting Fredrik Backman, having him sign some of my books, I'm so inspired to continue to read his books, and I haven't read this one yet. There's a few, I think 3 or 4 books that I still haven't read by Fredrik Backman. It's like a mass market paperback, so like size-wise, perfect. This one is about Elsa, who is 7, and she's a bit different. Her grandmother is 77 and crazy. Stand naked on the balcony and shoot with a paintball gun on men that wants to talk about Jesus crazy. But she's also Elsa's best and only friend. And then this grandmother passes and leaves a bunch of letters where she apologizes to the people she has hurt, and this becomes the start of the greatest adventure. I think this is gonna make me cry. That's all I can anticipate, really. These are the 2 main books I plan on bringing alongside with my e-reader, but I think I might, depending on the space I will have in my suitcase, I might bring The Blade itself as well, because I need to read this in February. Like, it's not an option not to read this. Of course I'm not done there, because I can take a chill pill when it comes to my books. If you don't know, I have like a book buying game, and in order for me to be able to draw a prompt to buy a book, I need to complete like the books that I set aside for this game. These 3 are for that game. So in order for me to complete my TBR of the month, I need to finish these 3. But there's actually, I think 2 other books I want to finish as well. So 5 books for me to sort of say that, yay, I finished my February TBR, even though I might have more books on this TBR. In January, I actually started reading the Finlay Donovan series, which is like a contemporary cozy mystery series by El Casimano. I read 2 of the books, and on the last of January 31st, the 3rd and I think final book in the series is being released. I've been listening to these books as audiobooks, and I have really enjoyed them, and I do want to finish the series. So on my February TBR, I do have the 3rd book, which is Finlay Donovan Jumps the Gun. It's about a single mom who is an author, and she writes mysteries and like romantic books. She sort of gets involved with the Russian mafia by mistake. It's very hilarious. It's very funny. If you read Dial A for Aunties, it's a similar type of story. Cozy mystery, a lot of heart, a lot of spunk, a lot of humor. It's fun, and I'm very excited to continue listening to this series. 2 goals I have for the year is I want to read basically 1 non-fiction each month, but since I am actually currently on my 2nd non-fiction of the year already, I'm not gonna force myself to read a non-fiction in February, so no non-fiction on this TBR yet. Another challenge I'm doing is my 12 books recommended by 12 friends. My plan was actually to find a book I could read on my Kobo. For my 12 books recommended by 12 friends, in February I'm gonna read Against the Loveless World by Susan Abulhava. It's a lyrical novel that follows a young Palestinian refugee as she slowly becomes radicalized while searching for a better life for her family throughout the Middle East. That's all I know, basically. So for my main February TBR, we have these 3. We have Against the Loveless World, and we have Finlay Donovan Jumps the Gun. If I read these 5 books in February, I'm allowed to draw a book buying prompt. As I said, I am considering this TBR to be divided into 2 parts. So the second half is my more romance books and also my go single people books. I haven't set TBRs for these yet. I just know I want to do some themed reading vlogs for them. So as I said, please leave your recommendations in the comments or in the Twitter threads for both romance books and also single books. I think some books I might read, just to throw something out there, is Queenie by Candice Carter-Williams and also Loveless by Alice Oseman. And for romance vlog, I'm definitely reading The Lilac Green Doesn't Care because that one has just been recommended a bunch. Oh, and I forgot. We have the Globetrotterathon challenge as well, which is Kevin from Machado About Books challenge, where each month you need to read a book that somehow relates to a place in the world. And for February, it's the Caribbean, so I did look up a few Caribbean books. I haven't decided which one to read yet, but I'm honestly excited about all of them. My options are Queenie, would work well, right? One of the good ones, Black Buck, Your Corner Dark, and Hurricane Summer. Many of these are available on Scribd as audiobooks. I'm including this in my game as well, so it will be amongst those 6 books that I need to read. Finally, before we end this mess of a TBR, let's chat about some upcoming releases in February that I'm personally very excited about. I might not know that much about them, but still excited. February 28th, a new book by Samantha Shannon is being released, and that is A Day of Fallen Night. This is like a prequel to The Priory of the Orange Tree. I still haven't finished Priory of the Orange Tree. I think I'm like 400 something pages into that one or closer to that. And I'm not gonna aim to finish the Priory of the Orange Tree in February. I might aim to do that in March. I'm not certain if I will pick up the new book instantly, mainly because I want it as a paperback, because I have Priory as a paperback, so I want them to match. I don't know if it's being released as a paperback yet, so I will wait until it is. So I'm not really stressed about finishing Priory, but I do want to finish Priory so I can read this one. But I'm very excited about this. I know that many people are super excited about this release. And it's cool that she's coming out with another book, I think. And then we have the 7th. All of these books I will mention are being released on the 7th. First we have Victory City by Salman Rushdie. I don't really know anything about this other than the fact that it's an epic fantasy and it looks really cool, and I'm excited for some freaking reason. I feel like this could be my vibe, based off absolutely nothing. We then have The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi, and this one is actually being released on the 14th of February. This is like a gothic inspired story, fantasy once again, and that's all I know. But I've heard good things from people that have read ARCs. Okay, back to the 7th. We have Seven Faceless Saints by M.K. Lobb, and this is a YA fantasy. Other than the fact that the cover looks really cool, I don't really have that much to say. We have This Time It's Real by Anne Liang, also released on the 7th, and this is like a young adult rom-com. It's about fake dating an actor. It looks cute, it has a cute cover. I'm happy with that. And then the final look for me on this list of anticipated February releases is actually a non-fiction, and it is called Culture, The Story of Us From Cave Art to K-Pop by Martin Pushner. And this is basically, from what I understand, it is a global introduction to art. I think it could be interesting, and I could learn things. Those are some of my honorable mentions, my anticipated February releases. In order for me to complete my February TBR, I need to finish these 3 books. Finlay Donovan Jumps the Gun, a book that somehow features the Caribbean, and also Against the Loveless World. 6 books. Back in January I had 4 books on that list and I still didn't reach that, so we're gonna see how that goes. And that is actually it for this video. Very rambly, very unstructured. I do think March's video will be more structured. It might even feature my TBR game. We're gonna have to see. Since my month in February will look so weird, that's why my TBR is weird, basically. I still really aim to make those themed vlogs while I'm back though. So fingers crossed for that. And I know I've said it plenty of times now, but please, please, please leave me your recommendations in the comments or in the Twitter threads. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed. Please take care and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye!
You gotta just go for it. Don't think about what